Hello, we are here for week 5 power rankings. We have me, the sick bash, and
And me, Whitefair21. You have the transactions duo on power rankings this week. So now not only do you get one video a week of the best two people in the ASL YouTube team, you get two this week. What a treat.
oh, true. And on top of that, we don't have TCP to John the entire power rankings video, so that works out too. So going into the first section, we have both of us agreed about pretty much the first bottom 4. Do you want to talk about what you put as last place?
Sure. I still have Shatter down here. His week 5 match was against Brad, and he lost 4-0. Shatter just still does not have a win this season, and that's the main reason he's here for me. Yeah, there's not too much for me that's really changed since last week.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion of how Shadow's been playing and prepping. So not much has changed, so he finds himself in the same spot on my list.
Yeah, true. And then on top of that, he is actually the only team without a win too. So that also kind of moved me to put him in the bottom 2. He honestly, I think he made a couple misplays, I guess, in the game against Brad, but hopefully he could pull it around for the end game of the season. Next we go on to T-Flight and the Barbaros, the British Barbaros, right?
Yes, the British Barbaros.
So he was up against Static this week, and he brought some very interesting sets per se, I guess. I don't know, he kind of just lost to Calm Mind. he got played by Mega Mancham with the Calm Mind Baton Pass set, which is honestly a crazy bring, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was insane.
But I mean, I guess in this league you gotta expect everything, and I guess he didn't expect the set that kind of helped break his team a little bit, because he Baton passed down to Gudra, which kind of put in a huge dent in that team. So, also a very interesting bring in the fact that he did actually bring Lipard. Lipard, I didn't know what to see from that really, because I didn't think it really did much against Static at least. So I thought that was an interesting bring for him.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't really agree with that either, because I feel like that just kind of invites Mega Mancham in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It really doesn't do much to his team with foul play too, so it's not like it's doing much. Even Weavile, I don't think foul play does it too much to it.
Yeah, because it's resisted.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I kept him down there. His prep hasn't been that good, honestly. So
It's been the main thing for me as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. As next, it's me for both of us. New York News in the Bash, and you know what? I honestly been making misplays as of because I believe this was the week against Milan.
Yes, that is correct.
My wing con, I didn't even try. I had a wing con and tail glow passing in from Volbeat into Jolteon and or Selby, and I didn't even pass one tail glow the entire match. So that's just that was just not that good.
Yeah. The main reason that I had you down here is that I couldn't understand what your one con was and how you were playing around it. So, that to me that just looks real bad.
Yeah.
When I can't figure out how you're trying to win the game, even after I've seen the whole battle, that. Some battles you can't understand what somebody's doing to set up for the win con, but then you see what they were setting up for at the end of the battle, and they're just oh, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
This was not this was not what happened here for me anyway.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't really like my matchup to begin with, but so that didn't really help either. And I believe, well, at the end game at least, I was trying to get some things weakened because there was a chance that Celebi actually could have swept with the scarf. But I did make a couple misplays at the end, keeping I honestly I don't know what I was thinking, because I thought for some reason that maybe Snorlax would outspeed Hitmonchan, after getting paired, but no, that didn't happen, and I lost Snorlax, and I probably should have made the play to Celebi at that point, but that's just I don't know what I was thinking that match. So
yeah. So then, are you good to move on to 11?
yeah, sure.
All right. So at 11, we both have me, White Fur 21, the Philadelphia Flagons. I thought week 5 was when I played Fish. I lost, and honestly, I don't think it was that bad, and I think that Bash's game was worse, which is why I moved myself up.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my whole rationale there.
Yeah, honestly, you played pretty decent against him, but this is just insanely good this season. I don't know what he did. Did he train in the mountains kind of thing over in the off season? But
training montage type shit. I don't know.
Yeah, Bish has just been playing out of his mind this league this season. So, and the way you did pretty well against him for the way he's been playing this entire season, I would say. Which is why I kept you above myself, because I think you've been playing better than I have, at least.
Aw, thanks, babe.
So let's move on to our next set, and we have a little switch up here as my picks are not the same as yours. You want to go through yours first, because for at least the 10 spot at least.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
I have Brett at number 10. Brett, week 5 played against
Cody.
Can't find it. Played against Cody,
Yeah.
right? And lost 2-0. That I as close as that game was, I still never really saw Brett winning that game. You know, normally when you see a 2-0, you can't really tell who's going to win until the end. But I didn't really have that feeling this game.
Yeah.
I just the whole time it seemed like Brett was behind, and I didn't really see a way for him to get back into the game. He did do a good job of saving the differential a little bit, but
Sure.
I don't know. I just still was not really that impressed, so I kept him at the same spot as last week.
Just to note, was Cody's Greninja metronome during that match?
I do not actually know. I was gonna calc it, but then I never did.
Because honestly, when I was looking through the battle, his Greninja just when he was trying to set up with Crest, which if he wasn't metronome, because he kept adding more damage on and on, even with the combines up. So that's what I'm thinking. He's metronome Greninja, which is a really good bring. Because if he wasn't, I'm pretty sure Crest could have put a huge dent in Brett's team, which is why I did have him above Malone. Because I do think that if Brett was able to get up, if Cody didn't bring that excellent bring, that Crest could have just ran through his entire team, which would have been really scary for him. I also moved Malone down, I guess, one, but the reason why I did that was just because I think that Brett had, I guess, better, well, not better play, but throughout the season, I think Brett has done a little bit better than Malone. Even though Malone beat me, I do think that I put Brett over just Malone just because of overall how this season has gone, not just because of the last match.
Well, for me, I had Malone at 9 and I had Static at 8, but then I switched him for this week just because, well, first of all, I was pretty impressed with Malone's game against you.
Yeah.
Even though, well, especially now knowing what your win con was, just the fact that he never, let you get back into the game. He never let you get your tail go up and then passed.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that just seemed like a very good game from Malone, so that's why I moved him up. Whereas Static seemed like, well, he didn't really struggle against T-Flight. It just seemed like it took him a while to get his win con in, you know?
Yeah.
And against teams at the bottom of the league, if you're going to one of the most important things for the playing against the teams at the bottom of the league is differential. Right? So it just seemed like Static is still getting used to his team, really, for me.
Yeah, I can see that too. I ended up putting Static above them too, though. Partially because I honestly his brings against I think it was T-Flight, right?
Yes, against T-Flight.
I was so taken back by them, and they actually worked too. So that's why I like. And honestly, the 2 games he played pretty well for both of them. Against me and against T-Flight. Although I would say that they are lower out of the 2, like a lot like lower compared to like the record wise at least. But which is why I put T-Flight not T-Flight my bad, Static at the lowest out of the records between from like I believe it was like from like 5th to 8th. Or 4th to 8th, they were all like the same record. So I ended up putting Static below all of them, just because he only played like 2 games technically, and they were against pretty more. The schedule at least for those 2 weeks were not as difficult as some of the other coaches have had to face. And Spell Stinger Escavalier, oh my god,
that was if that worked better, that would have been a very, very good break.
Yeah, nah. Oh my god, I didn't even realize Escav got Spell Stinger, honestly. I mean,
I didn't know either. Yeah, that took me completely by surprise when I saw that in the battle.
Yeah, and then as I said before, the Mega Meta Champ ring, which is completely insane. I feel like maybe he brought it because he thought Gotham was going to try to trap it, but like
possibly. Yeah.
But it still worked out for him with getting into Goudreau and putting on a lot of pressure on his team. So I really like that bring. Yeah, so that's why I have Static at 8. Do you want to go through mine or yours next?
Let's do mine because where we have like each other's 7th ranked team ranked is like closer for mine than it is for yours.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So 7th, I have TJ in the Slow Bohemians. He is, I believe, in the same spot as I had him last week. Just because I didn't feel like he lost to Zombie 4-0, and I was just not impressed by that game at all, but like not to the extent where I would put him below like Malone or Static or Brett. But I feel like this, like TJ kind of actually brought it up earlier in the just ASL chat, is that like, you know, if there were a time in the year where you'd want to play TJ, I think it is right now. And for me, power rankings is like, how good is a team and a coach performing like at that moment? So like, I think that TJ is just not performing as well right now as the other 6 coaches that I have ahead of him.
Yeah. The thing for me is the reason why I have TJ above Zombie is just because when TJ brings his team correctly, like he will win. Like he can beat anybody. I think it's really his inconsistency that really messes him up, and I don't think putting him down because of like maybe like a couple like 1 or 2 bad matches, like misplays or kind of like off games. I could put him lower than Zombie because I feel like Zombie has had a lot better matchups at least this entire season, and he's still per se isn't as high as the record as I thought he would be with that kind of team, honestly, which is why I have TJ above Zombie. And yeah, pretty much.
Alright, fair enough. Oh, man. Do we want to move on to 6?
Yeah, we'll move on to 6. I had TJ and you have the Ian.
I have Ian. Yeah. So, since we already kind of talked about, well, did you want to say anything more about TJ?
I think he seems a little uncomfortable with some of his mons. But like I felt like overall though, I think he just needs to think out some of his plays before he makes them. Just because like there's a couple of times he made a couple misplays, but those were, as I said before, he's inconsistent, which is why I think he just needs to focus a little more on some of those games that he's just not performing as well as he usually does.
Alright, fair enough. At 6th place, I have Ian and the Human Scollopedes. Week 5, he played against TCP, and he lost 3-0. So, that game, first of all, I thought TCP played very well. but also I thought that Ian just didn't. I didn't think that Ian's prep was enough.
Yeah.
For that week, you know, like knowing how tough of a matchup TCP is going to be, I don't feel like he did his due diligence with prep, and I can't know like what's going on, like in his life outside of like the ASL, like whether he just didn't have a lot of time to prep like for his matchup this week. But I feel like if he's going to be above some of the coaches that we have up here, then you really have to like put in a lot of time into prepping for the good coaches, right?
Yeah.
Like the coaches that are in the playoff race.
Yeah. I also would like to say that I don't know. I was watching this battle live with Brad, and I don't know why he kept his Golem around for so long. Like Golem was pretty much dead after like one hit after if he's on the switch in, and he kept that around the entire match, where he could have sacked it and got a free switch into something, which really shocked me, I guess, per se, because I thought he would use it to get in like Electros in for free to get up a free coil or something like that, but no, he just kept it around the entire match and then sacked it off as his last mon, which I don't really agree with. Maybe it's probably because of as you said before, there's something outside IRL stuff that's going on with him, and hopefully he gets through that, so he could, because his performance. He's usually an insane battler, but he just hasn't been showing it as much the past couple of weeks, I would say, ish.
Alright, and moving on to number 5, this is where I have Zombie. Zombie in week 5 played against TJ, and he won 4-0. So, I thought that he played very well. I thought he has played very well. He's been pretty consistent throughout the whole year, and he's been consistent. He has a strong team. He's, like, as long as his prep and play continue to be at this consistently high level that we've seen throughout the season, like, I think this ranking really makes sense compared to, like, somebody like Ian, who, like, maybe has a higher peak than Zombie does, but Ian's a lot more consistent than Zombie is, certainly.
Yeah. Okay. And would you want to go over TCP next, or?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. TCP has he's been playing a lot better than he was, I guess, in the beginning weeks. He's got a very his team. I know he said that he doesn't really like the way his team is, but he's been playing it pretty well. I would say the past couple of weeks, and oh jeez, I would say that he did really outplay Ian very really badly. I would say this match, even with Ian did crit like the lone Persian early on and stuff like that. I would say TCP was still able to put on a lot of pressure the entire match and ultimately just wreck him at the end. Honestly, Ian did not have a switch into Mega Heracross, and TCP knew that, so he took a full advantage of that.
Yeah, TCP was really able to exploit that in his battle, and what TCP's really been showing throughout these past few weeks, I think, is that he's really like settling into his team and like its strengths and stuff.
Yeah.
This team isn't exactly like what I would expect from TCP in terms of drafting, except for obviously the Celesteela on it, and I think that kind of showed throughout the first couple weeks. However, I think that like as of late, he's been playing and prepping a lot better as he gets more comfortable with the team and like just kind of settles into a groove, and that's why I have him a bit higher at third.
Yeah, true. Who do you want to go over next, Brad or Cody? What do you say? Cause
let's talk about Brad first, I think.
Okay. So Brad ended up playing Shadow this past week, and honestly, I thought he played very well against Shadow. He did have a little difficulty with switching. I don't know why he did have difficulty dealing with the right Bombay, but Sculpey was just able to, at a certain point, his win con was pretty obvious, as he was able to weaken down Shadow's team enough so that Sculpey could just sweep at the end, which what he knew his win con, he executed it perfectly. And honestly, that's why I have Brad at number 2 right now.
I have no problems with how Brad played at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not. I just wouldn't be as afraid to play him versus like TCP and Cody.
Okay. Yeah.
Is really my only reasoning for why I have him behind them. It's just because I feel like TCP and Cody are performing at like a higher level than he is right now.
Yeah. And then to go on to, I guess, Cody to talk about. Cody brought in like a really good team against Brett. I really think that he brought the perfect team to deal with Brett's team, especially with that. Like, honestly, Crest would have just swept him if he didn't bring that Metronome Greninja. I'm pretty sure it was, as I said before. And I thought some of those brings were just absolutely fantastic. He also brought the right set and like hazard stack, as Brett was not able to deal with that hazard stack very well at all.
Yeah, he did a really good job, like, as you mentioned, just identifying how Brett wanted to win, and like really just countering that with his prep, which I thought is like just a really admirable quality. Cody has been, Cody is like the player I think that I'm most afraid of in this league. Mm-hmm. That includes Vish. I think that like Cody overall like will play better, assuming all other things equal. And I just think that like sometimes Cody's prep is as good as it is. Like his prep and his drafting are what hold him back more than anything, even as good as his teams always are. So like as we see like, you know, his teams just being like more and more like accurately tailored to his opponent's team every single week, I think that's just very scary for everybody else in this league.
Yeah, true. And going into our number 1, we have both Vish. He's been playing out of his mind this entire season. As we talked about before, he was able to deal with Trick Room to Antsy pretty decently well from, I think it was Brett, right? Or...
No, that was me.
Oh, it was you. Oops, my bad. Yeah,
Yeah. I played the Trick Room to Antsy really, really poorly. Mm. I was so excited to use that after I prepped it, but I just did not play well with it. But he certainly did well playing around.
And I also would say that his transactions he made the previous week just make his team that much scarier. Because now, honestly, at Quillfish at tier D, it's just a steal. I think with the T-Spikes and Spikes option as well to Intimidate, it's just a really good steal, honestly. And his Zoom Roll is just an absolute amazing breaker for his team, which makes his team so scary to deal with, as well as how well he's been playing with it, which is why I kept it. Which is why I have him at 1, as well as the fact that he still, I believe, is undefeated, right?
He is undefeated.
Yeah. So.
And like until he loses, I don't really see him moving from that number 1 position.
Yeah, exactly.
He does have Cody in week 6, so that is certainly going to be a very interesting game to look at.
Yeah.
And that might say a lot about like, you know, how the top of the standings end up shaking out. So that is certainly something I think to look forward to with Fish.
Yeah. So that is in fact the power rankings for this week. Let us know what you guys think about where these teams are placed. If you feel that you are placed in a wrong position, definitely prove it in the next couple weeks, because this will change. This will change every week, as we said before, and we will be updating our power rankings based off of you guys' performances. And you guys just need to prove us wrong if you guys don't agree about our power rankings. Then
I think Bash, you really hit that. Like you really hit the nail right on the head there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't complain about where you are. Show us that we're wrong, right? So,
okay. Thank you so much for watching this video. Definitely check out the next one next week. And until then, bye.
Make sure you check out transactions.
Yes, definitely.